Hi there, so I'm with Liam, big Arsenal fan. We're going to preview the Brentford match. Before we do that, though, let's take a little look back at our last match against Wolverhampton. A really good performance from us. It was a really important 3 points, and we got the job done. What did you think of that game?
I thought the game was good. Overall, decent performance from the boys. I thought they controlled the game up until Gabriel was sent off. Obviously, going a man down, they have to perform at a much higher level. Obviously, introducing Rob Holding was really, really good for us. Done really well when he come on. Obviously, stayed in that low block. I feel like Arsenal now are starting to get into a good run of form in terms of when we go down to those kind of situations, being able to come out on top. I know we kind of missed out in the last final minutes against Man City, and that was a bit disappointing. But looking back on other performances we've had, and obviously Wolves, good for us to grind out a win. I was a bit disappointed that there was a lot of noise on social media regarding obviously our celebrations and how we acted. We've been on a bad run of form recently, and we've been playing well in those games. So obviously to hear when obviously Ruben Neves and the likes of a couple of other Wolves players going on, they're celebrating like they won the league. Bit disappointed with that, but obviously if we're 10 men down against a team that's playing really, really well, playing some good stuff, and obviously a tough team to beat, especially with 11 men, let alone 10. I felt like we did really, really well.
Yeah, we did. Getting the 3 points was vital. We held on. It would have helped if Lacazette took that chance. He missed a couple of chances. That second one was a big one. What did you think of his performance?
Overall, see, the thing with Lacazette is we know he's not going to be our long-term striker. We know he isn't of the calibre that probably we should have at Arsenal at this current moment in time. Obviously, there's a lot of noise about getting in the striker, Vlahovic, Isak, and the lack of in the transfer market. I think we've got to kind of keep our head and understanding that it is what it is for now. He had one particular chance. Obviously, tried to bend it into that far right-hand corner. A lot of people were saying he should have put it through Sarr's legs. I feel like if you play football, you understand that that's a very difficult chance to take, let alone at any level, let alone at Premier League level. But he was involved in the goal, in the build-up to the goal. So overall performance wasn't that bad. And again, we have to kind of keep our eyes fairly centred on the fact that, again, not going to be our long-term striker, not of the calibre, but as long as we grind out the win, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, what did you think of Martinelli's red card?
It's an odd one. I mean, for me, I can't remember who said it, but I've got to echo their words. You've got to be very willing as a referee to give that sort of red card. I've never seen it in all my life playing, watching. There was some form of noise about it happening for Northern Ireland to Chris Beard or something like that at one point or another. But again, it's probably something that you won't see within the next decade at the top level of sport. So it's an odd one. A lot of noise at the moment about Arsenal being this team that are getting decisions that probably won't be given for other teams and whatnot, and the lack of. I feel like that one there was a very weird. I don't feel like any Wolves fan would go home from that game thinking if Gabriel Martinelli had been given a yellow for that foul, or those two potentially, that he should have been sent off. So, and that's pretty telling in itself. So again, a very weird one. Even by the rules, I think I read an article that was within the FA's guidelines of the rules of the game. Even by those rules, it shouldn't have been given. So yeah, a bit of a weird one. It is what it is. We just have to carry on.
Yeah, lucky it didn't cost us in the match. And yeah, strange decision. I've not seen anything like that. And as you said, normally in that situation, a referee would maybe give us one yellow card and say, look, final warning. Do anything again, you're going to be off. But yeah, really harsh. So as we're saying, really important 3 points, and it was made even more important by the result for the teams around us. So we knew before we played that Tottenham had lost to Southampton, Man United had drawn against Burnley, and another weekend without us even playing, it was a really good weekend for us because Man United drew again, this time against Southampton, and Tottenham lost again, this time against Wolverhampton. What were your thoughts on their games?
I hadn't actually watched the games, but I mean, obviously it's good to see that your rivals are dropping points around you, especially when you have so many games in hand. I mean, we've obviously seen at the start of that, previously in the league, that games in hand doesn't equal points, and that's something that we have to keep in mind, especially going forward. With the games in hand that we actually do have are, I believe, Tottenham, Chelsea that were postponed, so they're hard games, but if we can keep picking up points up until, I'd take 2 draws with those games easy, and then if we can keep picking up points against the likes of Brentford in next week, and then going forward, then we should be all right. But yeah, nice to see them lose, especially when Bergwijn rolled the ball into the goal in the 93rd minute and given offside. So that was great. But yeah, nice to see Man United dropping points. I know they did well against Brighton. Ronaldo scoring there. Yeah. I think they'll start to click. I think they'd be the favourites for top 4 for me personally. I think eventually they're going to start clicking and firing on all cylinders, but obviously we're in a great position right now, so yeah, hopefully we can get the job done.
Okay, what's your thoughts on West Ham? They still keep picking up the points.
Yeah, West Ham, I feel like they've dropped off the pace a little bit. Antonio not really scoring too much. Really talented side. I really enjoy watching them. I feel like they brought in some really good players. Jared Bowen, Thomas Souček, Declan Rice is really coming out of the shell. Really prominent, and probably, in my opinion, one of the top 5 defensive midfielders in the world at the moment, especially given his age. Like the team, don't feel like they'd have enough to sustain it over the course of the rest of the season. I reckon they will drop out, but look good for probably European football, I'd say.
Okay, yeah, talking of European football, so we're trying to get into the Champions League. Been watching it on the TV this week, some good games have been on. Liverpool beating Inter Milan, we saw Man City beating Sporting 5-0. A good game between PSG and Real Madrid as well, that magic from Mbappe. So just wanted to ask you your thoughts on who you think will win the Champions League this season.
I mean, I'd like to think that there's going to be a new winner. I thought it last year, I thought it would be PSG and Man City, or Man City. I still feel like this year it will be PSG and Man City. Obviously, that didn't come to fruition last year, but the way that they're playing at the moment, Man City absolutely smashing the league. Won 5-0, obviously, over the course of the week. Mbappe again firing on all cylinders against Real Madrid. I feel like those two will probably win it. Again, I'd like to see Liverpool have a good run, but I don't think they'll be able to do it again this time. So I think, yeah, PSG, Man City.
So now let's look on to our match against Brentford. We know Martinelli is suspended for this one. Who would you bring in for him?
Tough one, really. Obviously, Smith Rowe's been doing really well coming off the bench. I would be happy with either Smith Rowe or Pepe to come in. Obviously, Pepe's done really well at AFCON. I can't remember whether he got player of the tournament or whether he was in whether he was in the tournament 11. Yeah. But yeah, done really well at the African Cup of Nations. I feel like maybe a bit early to introduce him, but again, wouldn't mind seeing him come in. Smith Rowe's obviously done brilliantly coming off the bench for us. I think currently our top goal scorer as well. So either one, wouldn't mind seeing him come in against the lack of Brentford. I feel like whichever person we choose, whichever player we choose rather, will be a good fit, and I think we'll get it over the line regardless.
Okay, and looking at Brentford, who do you think their dangers are for them?
So, from what I'm aware of, I think Ivan Toney's injured. So, obviously Ivan Toney, really good striker, really strong. Done really well for them in the Championship. I think he's injured at the moment, so obviously we won't be worried too much about him. A couple of good midfielders in Sergi Canos and Norwood, but really and truly, I don't feel like there's anything there that we should be worried about over the weekend. I feel like we've got more than enough to beat them. A little bit of obviously bad blood there, coming for revenge after our first loss of the season, given the fact that we obviously had so many COVID cases. A bit odd that it wasn't postponed with Aubameyang and Lacazette out then. Obviously that's no excuse, we should have probably been able to beat them then. But yeah, I feel like we'll have enough to get the job done.
Okay, what do you think the score will be?
I'd like to say, because we're at home, I reckon a solid 3-0 win.
Okay, then if we look at some of our top 4 rivals, the games they have coming up, Tottenham's next match, we know they're in really poor form and they've got a really difficult match next. Manchester City away, what's your thoughts on that game?
In all honesty, I'm not too sure. It could go one or two ways. You know what Tottenham are like, they're either serial bottlers or they manage to pull something out the bag. I feel like over the course of the last couple of years, they've done quite well against Man City, especially away from home actually. So if I'm thinking right, but I think it could be a bit of a mixed bag. I'd like to think, given the fact that Man City are on a great run of form at the moment, that they'll obviously get the job done for us. But again, it could be a bit of a mixed bag.
Okay, correct score prediction?
I'll go 3-2 Man City.
Okay, and then West Ham have got Newcastle at home. Newcastle playing better recently.
Yeah, much better.
What do you reckon of that one?
Bit of a tough one again because obviously West Ham are in a bit of a dip in form as well. Newcastle, I think they've had 3 wins in the last 3 as well in the league, if I'm not mistaken. Doing well. Not too sure on that one. It could be an iffy one. I think I'd go for a draw. I think I'd go score draw 1-1.
Okay, and Man United have Leeds away.
Leeds away. Leeds, I feel like they'll have more than enough to get that over the line. Obviously, when we played Leeds, they had a lot of COVID cases, a lot of injuries. Managed to put a side out. Don't know why they didn't apply to get it postponed. But yeah, I feel like they'll have more than enough to get it over the line at that one. Yeah, I feel like there's probably a 3-0 win to Man United.
Okay, and Wolverhampton have Leicester.
Tough game. Obviously, Leicester beating Spurs the other day. I think that'll be a draw also. Reckon 2-2.
Okay, about the top 4 situation, we've now seen our rivals are dropping points. We've got a win. What do you think now? Do you think we'll get top 4?
I'd like to think so. I've obviously already said that I think Man United will be the favourites for me. Eventually, I think they'll be firing on all cylinders, but I'd like to think that I feel like they have more match winners in their squad than we do that can sustain that kind of thing over the course of the rest of the season. Again, like I said, I'd like to think we can get it over the line, but whether that will come to fruition, I'm not too sure. I think if we got a striker, I'd be a lot more confident. Obviously, we're putting a lot of faith in quite a young squad. The likes of Saka, Smith Rowe need to keep the form that they currently have. Smith Rowe needs to keep scoring goals. Saka needs to keep doing what Saka does. It's going to be difficult. A lot of tough games coming up, like I said, games in hand with Tottenham, Chelsea. We have Man United again at home. So, yeah, tough games coming up. If we missed out on it, I'd be a little bit disappointed because obviously the questions need to be asked regarding our transfer kind of strategy there. Would we not kind of go gung-ho in January and then build again in the summer, or do we kind of leave it? There was a lot of noise about if we bought Isak in, was it value for money? Would you rather pay lesser in summer and hope that we can get top 4 now, top 4 at the end of the season, pay lesser in the summer, or pay X amount now? Say, I think they were banding around 70, 80 million odd. Would you not rather pay the extra, say 20 million and get into the Champions League, because the money that you get from the Champions League would pay for that surplus? So a bit of an iffy one, but then again, if you crashed out and then got a striker and it didn't really work, it's notoriously hard to bring someone in mid-season and for them to fire straight away. I mean, Aubameyang done quite well when he came in, but yeah, notoriously hard. So loads of kind of issues, but like to think we can. I think Man United probably will if we do happy days. Okay,
and are you happy with Arteta?
Yeah, I'm quite happy. I mean, some people would say that they're not. With him, obviously, he's done really well bringing down our wage bill. Got a lot of the players that were a bit malaligned with the vision of what he wanted to do. And I know people are saying, dictator sort of thing. But you know what? If you're only as strong as your weakest link, if you have someone that isn't kind of aligned with your vision of what you want to do, they shouldn't be here. Done really well getting those players out that are on quite high wages. I'm not specifically referring to Aubameyang, referring to the likes of Kolasinac, Mustafi, Ozil, all of these kind of players that were supposedly leaking information, etc., etc. Would like to think that in the future he'll do well. Obviously, it's a performance-based and results-based job. Currently doing really well, in a great position. Will we look at it in, say, 4 weeks' time and say something different? Maybe not. Maybe we might look at it and say a masterstroke from him, not getting a striker, not upsetting the boat. We might say we should have probably had a striker, and now we're currently fighting for a Europa League place. So it could go one or two ways, but reasonably happy. But yeah, the job's still not done.
Okay, and let's say we didn't get top 4 into the season, would you keep him?
Difficult one, very difficult one, because for me he's done so much in moulding this team. I don't think, regardless of whether we do get top 4 or we don't, I don't think he will go, because he has the owners back in. They wouldn't back him with all of this, getting players out, moulding the club to how he wants it moulded. I know he's had a lot of influence in what kind of pictures are up at the training ground and how that might motivate players, and obviously the lack of refurbishing this lovely stadium behind us. They wouldn't give him that sort of backing with the idea that he might go at the end of the season if he didn't get Champions League. Again, I'd keep him personally, because you don't want to see a job half done sort of thing. With Emery, it was a bit of a different story, that although we were in the Europa League final, we weren't a team that were ready for the Champions League. And I think every Arsenal fan would probably turn around and tell you that at the time we didn't have the squad to play in the Champions League, and we probably would have crashed straight out of it in the group stage or the round of 16 like we normally would have back in the day. So yeah, I feel like I would personally keep him. I feel like they will keep him. Some Arsenal fans might say no, but yeah, that's me.
Okay, yeah, to finish with then, so we saw our owners winning the Super Bowl with their team, the Rams. Saw Stan Kroenke celebrating with a trophy there. And then Josh Kroenke came out and released a statement saying, you know, they do care about Arsenal and they realise how passionate our fans are and they want to do more to help us win. What's your thoughts on that?
Interesting one. Obviously, given the fact that their track record, you have to take everything they say with a little bit of a pinch of salt. But given kind of the current landscape of Arsenal, obviously the fact that there was a lot of noise that they were willing to invest in January, that they're probably going to be willing to invest in the summer, it seems very positive. I think Josh Kroenke may be slightly stating the obvious with the whole, we're doing really well at the moment. We've got some really young players, some really good young players that are coming from the academy, really good young players that we've recently brought and they're performing well. It's all well and good to say that kind of thing, but again, are you going to kind of invest in the team, invest in the project at hand? Going back on what I said before with the whole, I don't think they'll sack Arteta if he misses out on Champions League. He even said himself that we need to score more goals, we need to get more points in order to perform better, naturally. But with that, again, I feel like if you're not going to invest in the team, invest in the squad, and invest on the foundation that we've currently laid with the likes of this young squad that are performing probably well above what they should be at this kind of moment in time. Again, not too sure about it. It is. We'll see. We'll see if they actually do.